All right, let's dive into the world of environmental mining engineering. We're going to help you prep for that interview, like seriously ace it.
We'll be your personal interview coaches.
We've got actual interview questions right from RoleCatcher's database, specifically for environmental mining engineers.
And RoleCatcher is not just job listings, it's way more than that.
Yeah, it's like your career toolkit with guides and practice questions and even AI to help you tailor your application and stuff.
It's pretty amazing.
So before we get to the tough questions, let's just set the scene for a minute. Imagine this. You're the environmental guardian of a whole mining operation.
Big responsibility.
According to RoleCatcher's Career Guide, you're balancing things, making sure mining happens responsibly, but also protecting the environment.
Yeah, it's like this careful dance between all these different things, regulations and the science of mining.
Oh, and don't forget all the different people involved.
Right. Communities, companies, even government agencies.
Exactly. So communication is super important. You're not just in a lab, you're talking to everyone.
Definitely. The guide actually highlights typical interactions as a really big part of the job.
Which is why we're doing this. Okay, let's jump into a question that almost always comes up early on. What motivated you to become an environmental mining engineer?
This one seems simple, but it's kind of tricky.
Yeah, it's more than just saying, I love nature.
Right.
The RoleCatcher Interview Guide warns against those generic answers.
They want to hear your story, your unique path.
Exactly. So what sparked that passion for you? Was there like a specific event or maybe a mentor,
Yeah.
a book? What made you interested in this field?
That personal connection is what makes you stand out.
I love that it's about being genuine, showing them you. Now, they might follow up with something like, okay, that's great, but what about the tough stuff? How do you handle the challenges?
Mining is not always easy, long hours, sometimes the conditions are tough.
So how would you answer that?
I think it's about showing your resilience.
Yeah, you could say something like, I thrive under pressure, I'm a problem solver, and maybe share an experience where you faced a challenge and overcame it.
They don't want someone who's going to give up easily.
Okay, here's a question that really gets to the heart of this role. How do you approach the challenge of balancing environmental protection with mining operations?
Uh-oh. This one can be tricky.
Yeah, the interview guide has a big avoid section for this one.
Don't make it sound too simple, like one side always wins.
It's not about picking sides, it's about finding solutions, right?
Think of it as a puzzle, not a battle.
I like that. So you need to show you understand both sides, like the risks and the benefits of each, and then come up with a plan that protects the environment while still allowing mining to happen.
Responsibly.
Responsibly, yes. The guide suggests focusing on your problem-solving skills. So, have you ever had to find a compromise in a similar situation? Maybe in a previous job or even a school project?
A real example is always good.
And don't forget to mention, like the tools and techniques to minimize environmental impact. Like, are you familiar with environmental impact assessments?
Or maybe you've worked on projects with reclamation or water treatment.
This is where you can really show off your expertise.
And that you actually walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
They might even ask, can you give me a specific example of a time you balanced these competing interests?
Be ready with a good story.
And guess what? You can use RoleCatcher's AI tools to practice your answers.
It's like having a personal interview coach giving you feedback.
Okay, let's shift gears to a question about staying up to date. How do you stay current with changes in environmental regulations and best practices in the mining industry?
They want to know you're a lifelong learner.
Yeah, this field is always changing, new regulations, new tech, new challenges all the time.
And it's not enough to just say, I read stuff online.
Right, they want details. What journals or publications do you follow? Are you a member of any professional organizations? Have you been to any conferences or workshops lately? Be specific.
Like maybe mention a recent article you read or a new technique you learned about.
What if they say, can you tell me about a recent change in environmental regulations that impacted your work? And how did you adapt to it?
Now you're showing them how you handle change, how you learn quickly.
And if you can't think of anything specific,
Don't worry.
the RoleCatcher Career Guide has a whole section on current trends and challenges.
It's like a cheat sheet.
Exactly.
Hey.
Okay, let's tackle another question. Can you describe your experience with sustainable mining practices? This is where you can show your passion for the future of the industry.
Sustainable mining is more than just a buzzword. It's the whole picture.
Minimizing environmental impact, respecting communities, making sure mining benefits everyone, not just now, but in the future.
Long-term thinking.
The interview guide says to go beyond just listing sustainable practices. Think about specific projects you've worked on.
Have you reduced water usage? Implemented renewable energy? Minimized waste?
Share those stories. Show them you're actually doing it.
They might ask, what are the biggest challenges you see in implementing sustainable mining practices, and how would you approach them?
Think about real obstacles, resistance to new ideas, budget constraints, or even just the complexity of changing an entire industry.
Show them you can think critically and solve problems.
Even when it's tough.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI can help you fine-tune your answers.
It's like a feedback loop, helping you improve.
Okay, now for a question that can be a real make-or-break moment, can you describe a time when you had to make a tough decision regarding environmental protection and mining operations?
Ooh, this one's about judgment and ethics.
It's not about having the perfect answer. It's about showing how you think. Did you have to weigh competing interests? Were there ethical dilemmas? Maybe you had to stand up for what you believed in, even when it was hard.
It's about showing your values. The interview guide says to choose a story that shows your commitment to both environmental protection and responsible mining.
Maybe you delayed a project to address environmental concerns or found a creative solution to protect an ecosystem.
Whatever story you choose, walk them through your decision-making process, step by step. Explain what you considered, the challenges, and the outcome.
And be honest, even if things didn't go perfectly.
Talk about what you learned and how you'd approach it differently next time. Okay, let's dive into a more technical question. Can you describe your experience with environmental impact assessments?
This is a core part of the job.
It's about identifying and assessing the environmental effects of a mining project before it even starts.
Preventing problems before they happen.
The interview guide suggests thinking about different types of assessments you've been involved in. New mines, expansions, even mine closure and reclamation projects.
Be ready to discuss the methodologies you used, the challenges, the key findings.
Show them you understand the process. And don't forget to highlight your communication skills here. You might have to present complex info to people who aren't technical experts.
Make it clear and easy to understand.
All right, let's talk about staying on the right side of the law. How do you ensure that mining operations are in compliance with environmental regulations?
This is where attention to detail is key.
The interview guide recommends outlining your process for monitoring compliance. Do you conduct audits, review permits, implement environmental management systems?
Be specific. Talk about how you track regulations, identify issues, and make sure the mining operation is meeting all the requirements.
What if they ask, have you ever encountered a situation where a mining operation was not in compliance? How did you handle it?
This is about problem solving and doing the right thing.
Be honest. Don't try to pretend you've never faced a challenge. Talk about a time you had to address a compliance issue, the steps you took, and what you learned.
They want to see that you're proactive and responsible.
Exactly. Now, let's move on to a question about a crucial stage. Can you describe your experience with mine closure and reclamation?
Leaving a positive legacy.
The interview guide emphasizes the importance of understanding the long-term environmental impacts of mining.
Thinking about the future.
Have you developed closure plans? Assessed the environmental risks? Implemented reclamation strategies? Think about specific projects and techniques.
Maybe you restored land to its natural state, created new habitats, or managed water quality after closure.
Share those stories. Be ready for questions like, what are the most important factors to consider when planning for mine closure and reclamation? Or, can you describe a time when you had to find creative solutions to address a complex environmental challenge during mine closure?
These questions test your knowledge and your problem-solving skills.
Mine closure and reclamation are not just about cleaning up. It's about restoring the land, protecting ecosystems, ensuring a positive legacy for the future. Now, let's tackle a question about working with people. Can you describe a time when you had to work with multiple stakeholders on a mining project?
This is about communication, building consensus, finding common ground.
Mining projects involve a lot of stakeholders.
Yeah.
Government agencies, communities, indigenous groups, environmental organizations, the mining company itself.
Everyone has their own interests and concerns.
Your job is to understand those perspectives, communicate effectively, and find solutions that work for everyone.
It's a balancing act.
Think about your experience. Have you worked on a project with lots of stakeholder engagement? Maybe you facilitated meetings, conducted consultations, or developed communication strategies.
Describe the challenges, your approach, the outcomes. Did you build relationships? Find solutions.
Now remember, it's okay to talk about when things didn't go perfectly. Maybe you faced resistance or unexpected challenges.
Be honest about the difficulties and what you learned. It shows you're willing to adapt and improve.
And be ready for follow-up questions like, what strategies would you use to build trust with a community that's skeptical of mining operations? Or, how would you handle a situation where stakeholders have conflicting interests?
These questions are about critical thinking and finding creative solutions.
Effective stakeholder engagement is essential for the success and sustainability of mining projects. It's about relationships, trust, and finding solutions that benefit both the environment and the communities involved. So we've covered a lot of ground today.
From understanding the role to tackling tough interview questions.
And remember, RoleCatcher is your ally. Their career guide is full of insights, and their AI tools can help you tailor your application and practice your answers.
It's like having a personalized career coach.
Before we wrap up, let's leave you with one final thought. Beyond all the technical skills, what personal qualities are essential for success in this field?
Think about it. You're dealing with complex challenges, balancing interests, making decisions that impact people and the planet.
It takes more than just technical expertise. Passion, integrity, resilience, a commitment to making a difference.
So, as you prepare for your interview, showcase your values. Let them see the person behind the resume, the person who's driven to make a positive impact.
That's a great point. We hope this deep dive has given you the confidence and insights you need to ace that interview. Good luck. And remember, RoleCatcher is there to support you. So think back to your experience. Have you worked on a project that involved a lot of stakeholder engagement?
Yeah, think about it.
Maybe you had to facilitate meetings or conduct consultations or even develop a whole communication strategy.
You had to get everyone on the same page.
Exactly. Describe the challenges you faced, how you approached them, and what the outcomes were.
Did you build good relationships with the stakeholders?
And were you able to find solutions that, addressed everyone's concerns while still moving the mining project forward?
Those are the kind of stories interviewers love to hear.
And it's okay to talk about the times when things didn't go perfectly smoothly.
Everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah, like maybe you faced pushback from a certain group or hit some unexpected roadblocks in communicating.
It happens.
Be honest about the difficulties and what you learned from them.
It shows you're willing to learn and grow.
They might even ask you something like, what strategies would you use to build trust with a community that's skeptical of mining operations?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Or they could say, how would you handle a situation where stakeholders have totally different interests and they clash?
That's a tough one.
These questions are all about seeing how you think on your feet and how you can come up with creative solutions to some pretty complex problems.
Problem solving is key in this role.
Remember, effective stakeholder engagement is super important for making sure that mining projects are successful and, sustainable in the long run.
It's about more than just the environment.
It's about building relationships, establishing trust, and finding solutions that benefit everyone involved.
Both the environment and the people.
So, we've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we?
We have.
From the basics of what an environmental mining engineer does to tackling some pretty challenging interview questions.
We even threw in some curveballs.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher is your friend in this process. Their career guide is full of amazing insights into the field.
They've done their research.
And their AI tools. Seriously helpful. They can help you fine-tune your application and practice your answers until you're super confident.
It's like having a personal coach in your pocket.
Before we wrap up, though, let's leave you with something to think about.
A little food for thought.
Beyond the technical skills and the qualifications, what personal qualities do you think are absolutely essential for being successful in this field?
What makes a great environmental mining engineer, really?
You're dealing with complex issues, balancing different interests, making decisions that have a real impact on people and the planet.
It's a big responsibility.
It takes more than just knowing the technical stuff, right?
Right.
It takes passion, integrity, resilience, and a real commitment to making a positive difference.
Those are the things that matter.
So when you're prepping for your interview, remember to showcase those qualities.
Let your personality shine through.
Let them see the person behind the resume, the person who's truly driven to make a positive impact in this field.
That's what will make you stand out.
That's such a great point. We hope this deep dive has given you the confidence and the tools you need to rock that interview.
You got this.
Good luck. And remember, RoleCatcher is there to support you every step of the way. It's about showing them you're not just a list of skills on a piece of paper.
You're a person with passion and drive.
Exactly. And that you're ready to make a real difference in the world of environmental mining engineering. So that wraps up our deep dive into acing that interview.
We covered a lot.
We really did. But remember, this is just a taste of what RoleCatcher offers.
Just a glimpse.
Their platform is packed with resources, like their full interview guide, which goes way deeper into these questions and many others.
Plus, their AI tools can help you tailor your answers to specific companies and roles.
It's like having a personalized prep team in your pocket.
Pretty cool, right?
So go check it out, explore RoleCatcher, and get ready to impress those interviewers.
Knock their socks off.
And most importantly, believe in yourself. You've got this. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive, and best of luck on your journey to becoming an environmental mining engineer.